With the release of Pixelmon 3.0, tons of new Pokemon and features have been added. With the update containing over 1 million lines of new code, it is the biggest one yet. But as the hype of Pixelmon 3.0 begins to die down and the hype of 3.1 begins, the question of what new features are going to be added arises. So I'm here today to discuss the top 3 features you should be excited about in the coming Pixelmon updates. One of the primary focuses is adding new Pokemon and really just getting most of those features from the games implemented into the mod itself. And with that, let's get right into the list. Abilities were a mechanic originally added to Pokemon in Generation 3. They hold the key to making or breaking a Pokemon, almost entirely. They are the reason Salamence can be a god while Archeops is merely wasted talent. If you're thinking, oh, another thing like IV training that will rarely be used and not even relevant, you are very wrong. Abilities have a massive impact on Pokemon battling. There are abilities such as Wonder Guard, where a Pokemon can only hit you with moves that would be super effective, or some that are completely crippling, like Slow Start, which halves both your speed and attack stat for the first 5 turns of a battle. Each Pokemon has a certain ability, and I believe that as they are rolled out, many of these will have a huge impact on the Pixelmon battling. There are about 40 abilities already coded, as you can find on the Pixelmon forums, and many more coming. This is going to drastically change what Pokemon are relevant just based off what abilities they have. It'll make old useless Pokemon much more viable, but at the same time, it'll make really good Pokemon even better, and that's why I really think you should be excited for this update. It'll add a whole new layer to the battling that was unforeseen before, and I really think it's for the better, and that's why it earns the number 3 spot. Double battles fit so well into Pixelmon that I'm honestly surprised it isn't in here already. It was a feature originally brought about in Generation 3. It allowed 2 trainers to battle against each other, or as most commonly seen in the games, it'd be you with 2 of your Pokemon against 2 trainers, each with one of their own. This, just like abilities, would add a whole new layer to the battling system. Being able to have double battle tourneys, just battling your friends with 2 Pokemon rather than 1, or even having 2 of you guys against 1 guy with really good Pokemon. But most importantly, what it does is changes things up enough while keeping to its roots. You're still battling, but this time you could use 2 Pokemon at once, and it also gives access to all of these moves that were recently added, like Helping Hand and Ally Switch. Despite this, no news of double battling being added has actually been released, but I feel it's inevitable. With the moves already being in the game, and it really just being such a perfect fit for Pixelmon, I foresee double battling coming in one of the next updates, and with that, it's why it earned the number 2 spot. Breeding has been the most talked about feature coming to Pixelmon out of all the new ones on this list. It's where many people find hours of enjoyment and calculations in the regular Pokemon games right now. Whether you're breeding for that perfect Pokemon or just want to see what happens, it's an enjoyable and ever-changing experience. It can also be a brand new way to obtain rare Pokemon, and for some servers, even a new way to sell Pokemon, even though the ethics of that are, well, questionable. The Pixelmon devs have had requests for breeding all throughout the mod's lifetime, and even in the past few months talked quite a bit about it. A unique twist to separate breeding from the Pokemon games and make it more similar to Minecraft's breeding could create a passionate and more in-depth experience, versus what you have in the Pokemon games right now, which is essentially just handing your 2 Pokemon over to some random guy and then running in circles waiting for either the egg to hatch or for you to get your Pokemon back. Being able to watch as a Pokemon grows up from its baby years, or even as they reproduce, if you're into that kind of thing, could add hours of new enjoyment to the mod, and an entirely new things to do. What I really think breeding will do, which is why I think it's the most important feature out of all these, is it'll add a new connection between the player and the Pokemon. Even though it's a video game, you still get connected to these little fellers. This is just going to add a whole new way to get more involved with them and more things to do with them. Being able to watch your Pokemon grow from children and eventually to adulthood, and then being able to battle with them and use them and see how your hard work paid off is going to be a unique experience that I don't think any other mod right now can match. And that's really why I think breeding is the most exciting feature on this list. So I do hope you guys did enjoy the list. I do thank you all for watching, and hopefully we can make more of these, and yeah, see you all next time. Later.